let's talk about the format a little bit before we move on. I personally think that this format looks pretty cool. Let's maybe talk about why these decks placed in the way that they did. Elephant in the room, why is Kashtira down here? Why is Kashtira at 12.5% in top cut? The deck hasn't changed, right? The other decks have improved. One thing I want to preface here is that I do not think the reason is that people are sick of playing Kashtira. That was maybe the reason why many people didn't play it at regionals, for example. But I will say one thing, and one thing that I believe to be true 100%. When it comes to bringing a deck to a YCS, a person like Pack, a person like Jesse Cotton, these type of people, if Jesse believed that Kashtira was the best deck, he would still play it. If Pack thought Kashtira was the best deck, he would still play it. If they don't bring the deck to a YCS, it means that they don't think it's the best. I 100% believe that. I think it's mostly because they actually believe Unchained to be a better deck, which according to the results, it is. Part of the reason might be that Unchained is just a very solid deck against Kashtira, I believe, because Unchained kind of has a lot of room for non-engine. I mean, we saw Jesse play Nib, Thrust, Books, a lot of stuff that you can fit with Prosperity in it as well, so you'll probably find it. You have a lot of ways to deal with the Kashtira board, and literally every single deck right now is on like multiple Books because they're so good against Kashtira and Pearly. I mean, if you look at this meta breakdown, Books are just phenomenal, right? Books are insane against Kashtira. Books are insane against Pearly. Books are low-key okay against Unchained. Booking the Wave King Caesar is very nice for a lot of decks. And Books are okay against Dragon Link, right? If you go first against Dragon Link, Book is very strong. If you go second against Dragon Link, at least Book trades with the Savage Negate, so it's all right. And Kashtira suffers from that. Kashtira suffers from all of these side deck tech cards or even main deck tech cards being very, very good against it. And also randomly good against everything else, because I would argue if Books were only good against Kashtira right now, you probably wouldn't main deck Book anymore, right? But the fact that Book is just solid or really good against all of this pie chart makes it so people can still main deck them, and it's just drive-by kills Kashtira. And like, honestly, playing Kashtira into this field seems very frustrating because you make your board going first and you expect to get it broken pretty much every time, right? Because you have no negation and everyone is on Book, Thrust, and whatnot in the main deck, right? It's like, it's kind of crazy. Kashtira has kind of naturally fallen off, which is very interesting. The more I thought about this, and I saw a tweet yesterday from Pack where he just tweeted Yu-Gi-Oh is nice right now, which looking at this breakdown, honestly, let me know what you feel, but it's looking good. Like, I'm actually looking forward to YCS Dortmund, even if we don't get a ban list. I'm like interested, I'm intrigued to test for this format. Like, it seems fine. There's nothing really here that I deem completely problematic. Unchained is a cool deck. Dragon Link is a cool deck. Pearly is a cool deck. Kashtira is kind of Troll Despair, but not too oppressive. The reason why Flu is here, by the way, I think, is that Flu is one of the few decks that completely doesn't give a shit about Unchained's endboard, and it also doesn't give a shit about Bystials, so that's why Flu is here, I'm guessing, right? So what I was wondering here, do we need a ban list right now? Which is a funny question to ask because it's been so long. It's been so long since we've had a ban list. I even made a ban list discussion, right? I uploaded a ban list discussion a couple weeks ago. Same shirt, by the way, disgusting. We discussed the ban list 2 weeks ago because I felt like it was about time to release a ban list. But I'm not sure if we need one because the format is looking completely fine. Now, don't get me wrong. When I say the format seems fine, I'm not saying everything is perfect. Okay, I still think there's a couple cards that I absolutely want to be gone, right? I'm still sick of playing against Kashtira, and I'm still sick of seeing a lot of anti-spells. I'm sick of seeing Dimensional Barrier. I'm sick of seeing Dimension Shifter. These kind of things. There's still cards that need to be gone, absolutely. The reason why I'm saying I could live with no ban list is that the format has changed more from Duelist Nexus than I expected it to, and I think I'm not the only one at that. I feel like it was not expected for the format to change as much as it did from Duelist Nexus, right? There's multiple decks from Duelist Nexus that, in my eyes, absolutely overperformed in these last 2 YCS weekends, right? Unchained, crazy performance. Pearly with the new support, very, very solid performance. Even Rescue Ace showing up here and there. We've seen Infernoble. Infernoble has top 8 at this YCS, by the way. The format has changed more than what we expected, or at least what I expected from Duelist Nexus, which begs the question, is a ban list 100% necessary right now? And I would say it would still be nice, but it is not 100% necessary, which is interesting to me. It's just looking like Unchained is the top tier deck to beat for YCS Dortmund and also YCS Cancun. Just get rid of the toxic cards, please. Right? That's the thing. That's what I would love. It's like, just hit Barrier, Anti-Spell Shifter, and Cash Tira, and we're literally cooking. Imagine how good that would be. And that's why I'm saying, like, we don't need one, but it would be really nice. Let's talk about how to hit Unchained. If they want to do a ban list and they want to put Unchained on it some way, shape, or form, please, Konami, do not hit any of the Unchained cards. The Unchained cards are absolutely fine. If you want to hit any cards that are being played in that deck, hit Prosperity. Prosperity is a 3 of an Unchained, a 3 of an Pearly, and a 3 of an Kashtira, and a 3 of an Fluanderies. That card is in almost any deck here, and it makes all of them way more consistent than they probably should be. And it's not just about consistency. If Pot of Prosperity was just a consistency card, I would be completely okay with it. You guys know I love consistency. I'm a fan of consistency. I don't like when decks lose just because they brick. I think a game that involves a brick is a very non-interesting game. It's not very skill testing, has nothing to do with playing good Yu-Gi-Oh, right? I don't want people to brick more. That's not what I'm asking for when I say hit Prosperity, right? Normally, I'm the type of guy to be all for consistency cards. But Prosperity is not just a consistency card, because Prosperity finds you every single card in your deck. That shit's not consistency. That shit's just wish for a card and manifest it in your hand. That's crazy, right? The fact that you can just go second and find thrust evenly, whatever, in any situation. You just manifest it in your hand when you go second. Then you go first, you manifest a floodgate or a starter if you need it, or an extender if you get hand trapped, or whatever. I think Prosperity is just way too powerful. I think it needs to be gone, because essentially these decks don't just have 3 copies of thrust. They essentially have 6, because Prosperity is so likely to find it, right? All of these issues that people have with certain cards, right? People have issues with thrust. People have issues with talents. People have issues with evenly matched sometimes. All of those issues are so much smaller if Prosperity doesn't exist, or is at 1, or whatever, right? Because it just amplifies so many other problem cards by putting more copies into a deck. You get anti-spelled so much more often because of Prosperity as well. Stuff like that. De-barrier. If I'm playing a deck and I go first and I open a playable hand and a Prosperity, I will just start playing, and then when my combos go through, I will just Prosperity, and I will probably find my dimensional barrier that I sided in, right? And then it's curtain, right? It's very, very crazy.